Hello, everybody. So, today we are doing another speed build. Right now, we are starting in the, um, actually, it's going to be a mother in law's quarters or like a grandma's house. So, this build is going to have a separate area and then it's going to have the main house. This is all going to be full base game. And we are going to use our cheats like move objects and alt placing things, and also um, the show hidden objects and show live edit objects cheat, just because I wanted to be able to keep the cost as low as possible while making this huge house. Um, so that's fun. Right now, we are going to place in the kitchen. I debated putting in an island, but I decided that there wasn't going to be enough room and I'd rather just use a small table. So all these colors are going to be temporary colors, and then we'll go back and change them again. Some of the furniture is going to be temporary furniture as well. This is just going to be a one bedroom, one full bath, kitchen, small living, dining, open area. And this took me longer than I wanted to. The full build probably took me about 2.5 hours, and let me tell you, I went crazy with some of the colors. I normally don't use the bright colors that I did use, and I really liked it. I liked the turnout. It was amazing. So right here, we're just going to do a simple roof on this one. The main house is actually going to have a little bit of a more complicated roof. So you'll get to watch me do all that. I cut out just a few pieces that, you know, randomly just weren't important. For the most part, you get to see me decide how I want the layout. I normally don't build houses this way. I usually just build a bunch of boxes and then fill it in. But this one, I actually decided the layout as I built the rooms. And I find that I'm changing up the way that I build. I used to not build like that. And I actually don't mind the way that this is being built. So obviously we finished out the first section of this. It's a really weird shell, so it was really difficult to figure out how to roof it, but it makes it feel more realistic, honestly. Because in real life, you'd see roof lines more along the lines of this. Maybe a little bit different, but they'd be pretty similar in real life, which is what I appreciate about this build in particular. Where the front door is going, that's just going to be a little entryway. I don't know why, again, the last one that I did also had a little bitty entryway. And, I normally don't put them, but I'm feeling it. This world, this Willow Creek rebuilding world, is going to be a whole experience, and it's going to be completely different than how I normally build any other builds you see on my gallery. My gallery ID is going to be the Bobus daughter. I can actually link it underneath. All of the builds will have my YouTube username, which will be Bobus with 3 underscores on the end of them. And they'll have the actual lot's name. I'm not going to change any of the lot names except for the public ones. The house ones will match, so that way you can place them where they actually go if you wanted to do that as I built. And then if I can figure out how to do it, I will end up putting this whole save file out there somewhere where y'all can find it if y'all wanted to have it. So the first room to the foyer is going to be a living room. And then as soon as you turn left there, it's going to be the kitchen. Right now we're working on the hallway and the bedrooms. The back half is going to be mostly bedrooms. Um, Actually, it is all bedrooms except for 2 baths. So this is actually all together, including both houses, is going to be a 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom. So right here we're working on the living room. Again, we're using all temporary stuff for the most part. This living room took me a little while to figure out how I wanted to fill it because it was so thin and wide. And I decided that I wanted to put chairs in here against that bay window because I wanted to be able to use it, but also want to have a place for a little bar stool moment. Um, so that's always fun to figure out how you want to place kitchens. Kitchens are my favorite things to do. There's so many little things that I like to put in a kitchen, and I like to keep the living room more simple and bedrooms really simple as well. Kids' rooms are amazing to put filler in, but the more stuff you have on a bigger lot, the more laggy it'll tend to be. Especially once you get to places where multiple packs are being used. But since we're doing this all base game, there's not a whole lot of objects that are super stylish to put in here. So you can see where I'm putting all the bathrooms and stuff like that and the bedrooms just by putting these temporary beds. Again, they're all temporary colors. We'll go back and change that at the end. Uh, right here is going to be the main bathroom for people to use. So that way, guests are over and you're entertaining. There's a nice bathroom to be able to use. Um, we're soon about to get on to the painting part of the outside. I jumped to the outside and inside back and forth. So I decided in the kids' bedrooms, which they're not really considered kids because there's no toddler beds or anything, they're just children. In those bedrooms for the teens, there's not going to be any computers. I didn't want computers in there. I just wanted it to be a home workspace with the desks. And then the main computer is actually going to be in the living room. So if they did want to play on a computer, there's one right there. There's also going to be what is it called? A laptop in the kitchen on one of those bar stools. And then Grandma's little house is going to have her own little pathway, and there'll be another pathway to the front right there. And I did want to put a pool in here. It just seemed fitting. And then we're going to put bushes around the pool area on the back half, just to give it a little bit more privacy, just so we don't have a fence. I didn't want a full fence somewhere. And what bugs me is I didn't realize it for the longest time is that I didn't paint that front bay window where the kitchen is. I didn't paint the roof on top of it. And I know that's going to bug some people, and I apologize so much. For the colors, I did do a black brick with a nice light green, this color right here, a light green vinyl siding. And I actually kept the doors the same. I went ahead and matched them as I put them in, just so they seemed cohesive. So they matched from the outside. And all the windows are all the same as well. And right here we're going into the by debug, and we're just placing all of our plants. So you shouldn't have hardly any expenses on all of the plants. Those are all free. When you do place this, or if you do decide to place this, you will have to use the BB Dotch Move Objects cheat, just so nothing gets moved around. I alt-placed a lot of things that aren't actually directly on a counter. They may have dropped if you don't use that, or some things could disappear if you don't turn that cheat on. And right here we're going in with our bushes and putting them around the pool. I am gonna, where that opening is, there's gonna be a little archway with little droopy plants that I will place in there as well. Grandma's gonna have a vehicle from the debug menu, and there's also gonna be 2 other vehicles in the front for the debug menu. We're going to put some decorative trees around. What else do we put? We are going to put a debug fence. So that's what you're going to see right here is me figuring out what fence I wanted to use. I thought that looked good, but then I decided that I didn't want to try to place that rounded piece on the side or move the terrain paint anywhere. We did place quite a few of these greenery boxes around the house. And then this is the fence that we're going to use, this brown fence. I'm actually going to tuck it sideways right here, kind of towards that plant area. And then we'll just kind of fill in all the way back towards Grandma's house. And the other side doesn't have any fencing. It's all open. You could always add in your other pack stuff that you want to. And then I'm going to actually go back because the fence looks too tall and just shrink everything down with the bracket keys. Just because it seemed to flow better when I did that. And here we alt placed that fence just because it was a little bit too long to fit. And I wanted it to seem realistic to be able to fit a vehicle between those 2 posts. And I'll fix the terrain paint to be more evenly blended on the back half of the video. So right now we're obviously throwing some color in there. We want a little bit of variation. These are those hanging plants that I was talking about that I'm going to put on the fence. I should be finding the fence, or not the fence, the archway really soon after I pick out these vehicles to be in the yard. I didn't put terrain paint underneath the vehicles because I figured it's a new build and they're not quite used that often. They most of the time during the work week just kind of pull their car on the curb and then they'll park the car in there during the weekends when they're not doing much. And then right here is where we all place those plants to make it look like it's very greenery and pretty and you have to walk through it. I think that's one of my favorite parts that I did for that. I was going to put a big tree in that open area, but I figured if y'all guys wanted to put some kids in here, y'all could actually put a, what is it called? I don't know why I blanked. Monkey bars. Oh my god, I wanted to call it a swing set, and it's not a swing set. They're monkey bars. You could put those there, or you could put a swing set with one of the other packs. And I was going to put some rocks around the flower beds, but I just decided not to. There was already so much stuff on the lot and so much stuff that I was already doing. I really wish that I could have fit a gate right there, but there wasn't one that actually matched and fit. So right here we're fixing up that pavement that we put down, and then we're going to move on to furnishing the pool. So we're going to have a grill, we're going to have a couple of laying out chairs, and then we're also going to have a picnic table, like a patio table with an umbrella. I wanted to put some towels to lay out on, but because we didn't have we're not going to use other packs, so we couldn't use the Island Living towels at all. And so we didn't use that. I did put a hose out the back, so that way if you needed to fill the pool, like you would actually do that, but you know, a little bit of realism, you would fill the pool with it or water the bushes and plants. And then we're going to move on to the inside, which is really fun. So I went with these light blue countertops just to add a pop of color because I would do a really dark wood floor throughout this whole thing. Everywhere has the same matching flooring in this big house. In the smaller house, because it is smaller, I went with something that was a lighter wood just because it would make the place look bigger. It took me so long to figure out what chair and what color chair I wanted to use in that dining room area. That's why you saw me scrolling through the colors for so long. Um, we are going to add counter or top cabinets, obviously. That's what we're doing now. And I don't take them the rest of the way around. I just end it right there. We'll put a sink in just a second, but we're going to move those pans. We're going to add paper towels and obviously the spatulas and stuff like that onto the stove. And there's that laptop that I talked about earlier. I was going to do a black and gold sink because I wanted to do, or bronze, because I wanted to do the bronze holder. But I went ahead and kept the bronze holder and just left the sink, the grayish silver, the stainless steel. And then we're going to move into the flooring section. Like I said, we did the black. I do change the texture of floor to a different black wood flooring. And we're just going to paint all these white, and then I'll decide my color palette that I want to use for the furniture, and then add my other accent colors. I wanted to find something that matched this rug so bad, because I never use this rug, and I really liked that beige and white, but I couldn't find a matching fireplace. So I just said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I liked this rug, but I didn't have a place to put the couch all the way against the wall unless I wanted to scoot everything over and make it all squished. And there's so much room there, I didn't want to squish everything. So I went ahead and did a black and white rug, and then we're going to do green. But we're actually going to change those side chairs to white and make the main couch green. So that way there was a pop of color against that white buffet table that's behind it. And we just move everything in a little bit so you can kind of realistically fit between the back of the couch so you don't have to walk in front of people or just right inside the front. And then right here, I'm moving the door over so we could also put that computer desk that I was talking about earlier. We're going to use something modern and match the green drawers to everything in a second. And then we're not going to do the most expensive computer. We don't need that. We're trying to keep it everything pretty low cost. We are going to put some plants in that bay window in a little bit, but right now I was trying to find where the platform tool, like to paint it was, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out where it was for a minute. But I did do a rock wall in here, and I thought it was very pretty because that river stone is just, it's like my favorite stone other than the flagstone. And here we are placing all those plants that I was talking about. I wish I had more plants, and we do have more plants, but because it's base game, again, there is just not enough plants in base game that are big enough or small enough to fit up there. They're either way too big or way too small, and so you have to place multiples. Right here we're going to decorate the foyer a little bit, and we're going to do the blue and white and green. We're going to match it to the outside green color, but just because of the lighting it makes it look a little different. And that's all we do in that foyer area. And then right here we're going to put a couple of paintings. I was going to do a juice section or even a little bar, but I couldn't fit it in there the way that I wanted to, so I decided not to. We're going to put keys as if, you know, they've been through other houses and this is their, you know, fourth house or whatever, and because they've expanded as they've grown since they were first married or whatever the couple wants to have, or the play style that you want to have in this household. I was trying to find a bunch of multi-painting things to fill right here just to make it look like it's more full. I just couldn't find anything that I wanted. And because this painting I couldn't move off of the wall, I just didn't put curtains. I don't like the curtains in the base game anyways. They're all pretty old school, and I just didn't want to have to try to find one. We did put bins. We did put trash bins in. We're all good. I think this is the table that I leave there, but I do put a little bitty china cabinet in, which is really fun, just to fill that space on the wall. And then we're going to put this really pretty base game wallpaper, and this is actually blue walls, but they look like a blue toned gray to me. Like, they are gray to me. Everybody sees color differently though, so tell me what you think that color is. And then in here we're going to put another little buffet style table, plants, and this pear painting. I didn't change the frame on the pear painting just because it's so difficult to find matching frames. So you might as well just kind of wing it and make everything match as good as you can. And then here we are finding the plant, and then we're going to go back and copy the... Did I copy it? Yes, I did copy it from the living room. And then we're having little condiments and a little tea kettle or a coffee pot or whatever you want to call it. I don't actually know quite what it is. And then we're going to have a few juices in there. And then we're going to match all the bathrooms together. No reason for them to be different. Even the grandma's house, the mother-in-law quarters, has the same bathroom. And here I am finally changing those floor colors. And all the bathrooms are going to be blue, white, and black, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they're all blue, white, and black. And then these rooms are going to be, it's a Jack and Jill bathroom style. So obviously there's two doors on each side, and you can just enter in through whichever room you're in. And one of them's going to be the boys' room, and one of them's going to be a girls' room. Or they can be both girls, but one's a tomboy, or whatever you want. We're open to anything. I'm going to extend this master bathroom over a little bit because there doesn't need to be that big of a hallway. It's kind of pointless, and move the door around. Ooh, sorry about that. My dog decided that she wanted to talk to somebody, apparently, that was outside. So right here, we're deciding what we want to do for color-wise. I did know that I wanted to put an ottoman on the foot of the bed, just because it makes everything look so much better to me. It's visually appealing. And so we have the chest of drawers and a regular dresser, and then we got the side tables that matched all that. And then we're going to do, I think it's a beige and blue rug, like a pinky beige. Yeah, so the beige kind of matches that pink beige. And then we match the blue with that vinyl, supposed to be shiplap style wall. And then we're going to actually make all the walls a matching, like, peachy beige color as well. And then we're obviously, we can't, there's women in the house, we can't not have a full body mirror somewhere. And then here I am trying to find the paint color that I want, and it took me a while to try to find that beige color. I had to go through a bunch of different swatches, but I finally found it. And it's a very different color palette than I would usually use, but I loved that color palette. And then we're going to do a pink and black style room with a light colored wood, and then we're going to do like a full brown and blue colored bedroom with the dark colored wood. There's going to be couches on the end of each of these beds. I kind of made them more matchy matchy, like the parents decided to design. They just got to choose their colors. And then we did add rugs underneath each one. Sorry, I had a yawn. So we did blue to match the pinstriping in the brown bed comforter. And then we're going to do a brown wall because I couldn't find a blue to match. That really made me upset, but I wanted to do the dark blue. And there was not a single dark blue that I felt fully matched with the paneling, at least. And then we just did plain. There was no texture in that room, and it really made me upset, but I'd rather have the color versus texture. So when we did that, um, and I went back and did some little details afterwards. And this is the last little section that we're going to be doing. So this is going to be Grandma's quarters. I went ahead and did yellow, and then I went back to the first piece and tried to look through the swatches to see what I wanted, but I decided yellow is what I wanted. And we're going to do everything that light colored or the stainless steel color. We're also going to put in like a little bitty coffee bar on the right hand or left hand side of the entryway right there. And I think I'm going to add that soon. I think it's right here because I needed some more space. So then we put the coffee and then we add the coffee pots right there. Coffee pots? Coffee cups right there. And then we're going to change this table to be actually a round table as well. And we had to add a grandfather clock. You know, maybe it was her husband's prized possession that he worked on. You know, it broke and he fixed it every single time. And she wanted to keep that with her. And I actually decided to do these chairs in the pink. But I decided to try this first. The chairs were too bulky. So I went back and did that color. And then that style with the light color pink. We keep the blue couch because it just, I don't know, those light pastel but slightly rich in color theme looks really good in that house. And you'll see when we go into the screenshots in just a second of what I'm talking about. And right now we're going to move around the bedroom and add some paint colors. And I decided to do like a neutral bed frame with that really nice green, is it teal? I don't know if it's quite teal. I think it's more green to me. But the green accent wall, and then we're going to add a chair. And we're also going to add a painter's, or a painting easel in the corner. Grandma loves painting ever since she retired, and she loves chess. She used to play chess with her husband. You know, you got to think of a storyline when you're coming up with some of these houses. And the granddaughter is actually going to be taking up after her grandmother and enjoy painting as well. And the son is going to enjoy being a guitarist. Don't know where that came from. I didn't think of the personalities for the parents. But here are the screenshots, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.